Aggregate demand. Consumers receives a certain amount of disposable income or income after taxes. Consumers choose to either save or consume their disposable income. By definition, the portion of disposable income that is not consumed is saved. Consumption is the purchase of newly produced goods and services for current enjoyment. Going out to eat, or buying the latest novel, or purchasing a new pair of sneakers are the best examples of consumption. The funds accumulated from savings are channelized to a financial system where they are lent out to investors through financial intermediaries such as banks or finance companies. For example, a consumer with $1,000 disposable income spends a disposable income of $800 on consumption items and deposits the other $200 in a savings account. The bank lends the $200 to investors for further investment. Investment is the total amount spent by firms on newly produced factories, machinery, plant and equipment. Investment also includes the expenditure of households on new homes. Investment must expand the production capacity of the economy. In contrast to consumption, investment is not for current enjoyment. The government also purchases newly produced goods and services. These purchases are called government spending, which directly goes into the economy's circular flow. Examples of government spending include the purchase of education services from teachers and administrators, the purchase of national defense, including expenditures for military and its weapons, purchase of highway construction and maintenance services, and so on. Government spending does not include government redistribution programs, which are called transfer payments. So, which are the transfer payments? It is Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, welfare and unemployment allowances are some of the best examples of transfer payments. The four components are consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports generates the demand for goods and services in the economy. Together, they compose aggregate demand. Specifically, aggregate demand is the total amount of all the consumers, firms, government, and foreigners who wishes to spend on final goods and services produced in the US borders given the price level. Now we'll move on to the aggregate demand formula. But before we move on to aggregate demand formula, let us try to know what aggregate demand definition is precisely. Aggregate demand is the total demand for final goods and services in a given economy, given time and price level. Aggregate demand is a schedule that shows the various amount of real domestic output that domestic and foreign buyers will desire to purchase at each possible price level. Aggregate demand is the total of consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports. As you can see in the slide, aggregate demand equals C plus I plus G plus net exports. It shows the relationship between real GNP and the price level. The total amount of newly produced goods and services is the domestic product. The production of GDP generates the economy's national income. The values of GDP and national income are equal because all the revenue that is earned from selling a final good or service ultimately ends up as an income to someone in the economy. To illustrate, an automobile company earns $100. The firm pays $60 as wages, which becomes an income to the employees, and the remaining $20 as rent, which becomes an income to the owners of the building, and the rest $10 in interest to pay off its capital equipment, which becomes an income to the owners of the capital. By adding all these three, it adds up to $90. So the firm makes $10 in profit. Where does the $10 go? It goes to the owners of the automobile company. The owners may choose to take $10 as dividend income, or they may decide to reinvest the money in the company. Either ways, $100 in total income is generated from $100 in automobile sales. GDP equals the value of national income, or Y equals NI. Households and firms have to pay taxes on that national income. But the government also takes some of the tax revenue and redistributes it back to the households in the form of transfer payments. After accounting for taxes and transfer payments, national income is turned into disposable income. The disposable income is available for consumers to save or consume, and the circular flow starts all over again. In the graph, we notice aggregate demand curve plots the level of aggregate demand at various price levels. With the price level rising, the level of aggregate demand declines. The reverse is also true. As the price level falls, aggregate demand increases. Therefore, an inverse relationship exists between the price level and aggregate demand. At first glance, the downward slope of the aggregate demand curve seems perfectly intuitive. The law of demand applies to individual markets because when the price of a particular good or services rises, consumers substitute other products in place of the more expensive item. So the law of demand deals with changes in relative prices, the price of one good relative to the other good. In macroeconomics, the price plotted on the vertical axis is the price level, the average level of all prices in the economy. If the price level increases, all prices in the economy are rising on average, and there are no goods or services for which the consumer can substitute. The microeconomic demand curve and the law of demand do not strictly apply. Two explanations exist to account for the negative relationship between the aggregate demand and the price level. These explanations are called the wealth effect and the international trade effect. This will be discussing later, but before I move on to that, I would like to explain you the graph. It shows an inverse relationship between the price level and domestic output. The explanation of inverse relationship is not the same as for demand for a single product, which is centered on substitution and income effects. Substitution effects doesn't apply in the aggregate cases since there is no substitutes for everything. Please note this. Substitution effect doesn't apply in the aggregate case since there is no substitutes for everything. Income effect also doesn't apply in the aggregate case since income now varies with aggregate output. With the explanation of inverse relationship between price level and real output in aggregate demand, we find real balances effects. What is this real balance effects? When the price level falls, the purchasing power of the existing financial balances rises, which increases the spending. But the other one we are going to talk is interest rate effect. A decline in price level means lower interest, which can increase the levels of certain types of spending. Foreign purchase effect. What is this foreign purchase effect? When price level falls, other things remaining equal, US prices will fall relative to foreign prices, which will tend to increase spending on US exports and also decrease import spending in favor of US products that compete with imports. Now, let us move on to some of the factors that affect aggregate demand. First one, changes in consumer spending, which can be caused by changes in several factors like consumers' wealth, consumers' expectation, consumers' indebtedness, and taxes. Changes in investment spending, which can be caused by changes in several factors, are interest rates, profit expectations, business taxes, technology, and amount of excess capacity. A change in government spending is another determinant, like changes in net export spending unrelated to price level, which may be caused by change in other factors such as incomes from abroad. And lastly, we are going to discuss on the exchange rate. Depreciation of the dollar encourages US exports since US exports become less expensive when foreign buyers can obtain more dollars for their currency. Conversely, dollar depreciation discourages import buying in the US because our dollars can't be exchanged for as much foreign currency. Now, please make a note, the first factor that affects the aggregate demand are net exports effect. When domestic price increases, then demand for imports increases because domestic goods become relatively expensive and the demand for exports decreases. Second one, it is the real balances. When inflation increases, real spending decreases as the value of money decreases. This change in inflation shifts aggregate demand to the left or it decreases. Thirdly, interest rate effect. Real interest is the nominal interest rate adjusted to the inflation rate. When inflation increases, nominal interest rate increases to maintain real interest rate. Lower real interest rates will lower the cost of major products such as cars, large appliances, and houses, and they will increase business capital project spending because long term costs of investment projects are reduced. Fourthly, it is the inflation expectations. If consumers expect inflation to hike in the future, they will tend to buy, now causing aggregate demand to increase and shift to the right. Now, as you can see in the next slide on wealth effect, there is a change in price level which is directed to changes in purchasing power of financial assets, which results in change in consumption, and this results in a change in aggregate demand. The wealth effect occurs because certain financial assets have returns stated in nominal dollars. If the price level rises unexpectedly, the real returns on these assets fall. For example, a person purchases $100 bond that will yield 10% return. So the bondholder will receive $110 in 1 year. The bondholder also foresees or forecasts no inflation over the year. But unfortunately, inflation rate turns out to be 5%. When the bondholder receives $110 payment, the real return is less than the bondholder expected because the purchasing power of $100 is less than it was a year ago. In effect, the rising price level reduces the bondholder's wealth. If the value of a person's financial asset decline, she or he will reduce consumption, resulting a decline in aggregate demand. A rise in price level, ceteris paribus, decreases the quantity of real wealth, that is, money, bonds, stocks, etc. To restore their real wealth, people increase savings and decrease spending. So the quantity of real GDP demanded decreases. Similarly, a fall in the price level, other things remaining the same, increases the quantity of real wealth. With more real wealth, people decrease savings and increase spending, so the quantity of real GDP demanded increases. Now we move on to international trade effects. A rise in the price level inter alia increases the price of goods relative to foreign goods. So imports increases and exports decreases, which decreases the quantity of GDP demanded. Similarly, a price fall inter alia decreases the price of domestic goods to foreign goods. So import decreases and exports increases, which increases the quantity of real GDP demanded. The international trade effect occurs because an increase in the price level can reduce net exports. If the nominal exchange rate is fixed, an increase in the US price level means that in real terms the US dollar is appreciating. For example, suppose that 1 US dollar equals 1 British pound and a toaster cost $20. A toaster is a sandwich and 20 pounds to produce in both the US and England respectively. Suppose then that the price level in US increases so that the prices of domestically produced goods and services are higher than before. Assume that the price of domestically produced toaster rises to $22. Price level in England is unchanged, then the toaster still costs just 20 pounds to produce and it can be imported and sold in the US for $20 because of the 1-to-1 exchange rate. The fixed exchange rate gives US consumers more import purchasing power. In other words, a rising US price level, all else equals, lowers the cost of foreign goods relative to domestic goods. The relatively cheaper imports will be demanded at the expense of domestically produced goods, decreasing net exports, and hence it also decreases the aggregate demand. And the next one is intertemporal substitution effect. A rise in the price level, other things remaining the same, decreases the real value of money and raises the interest rates. Faced with a higher interest rate, people try to borrow and spend less, so the quantity of real GDP demanded decreases. Similarly, a fall in the price level increases the real value of money and lowers the interest rates. Faced with lower interest rates, people borrow and spend more, so the quantity of real GDP demanded increases. Next, we move on to changes in the aggregate demand. A change in any influence on buying plans other than the price level changes aggregate demand. The main influences on aggregate demand are expectations, fiscal and monetary policy, and the economy, that is the world economy. Expectations about future income, future inflation, and future profits changes the aggregate demand. Increases in expected future income increases people's consumption today and increases aggregate demand. A rise in the expected inflation rate makes buying goods cheaper today and increases aggregate demand. An increase in expected future profits boosts firms' investment, which increases aggregate demand. Fiscal policy is the government's attempt to influence economic activity by changing its taxes, spending, deficit and debt policies. A tax cut or an increase in transfer payments increases households' disposable income, aggregate income minus taxes plus transfer payments. An increase in disposable income increases consumption expenditure and increases aggregate demand. Because government purchase of goods and services are one component of aggregate demand, and increase in government purchases increases aggregate demand. Monetary policy is changes in the interest rate and quantity of money. An increase in the quantity of money increases buying power and increases aggregate demand. A cut in the interest rate increases expenditure and increases aggregate demand. The world economy influences aggregate demand in two ways. A fall in the foreign exchange rate lowers the price of domestic goods and services relative to foreign goods and services, increases exports, decreases imports, and increases aggregate demand. An increase in foreign income increases the demand for US exports and increases aggregate demand.